Nemophila is not coming to the US anymore. And this is a clip from the Solid Sound podcast where we talk about our favorite musicians from all over the world. We take a deep dive into the situation because we know some of the people that have set up these shows, and we have one of them coming on. He's not particularly part of the whole setting it up thing, but he knows the people involved, and he gives us a little bit more insight on what happened with the whole situation. Just to let you all know, we are moving the Solid Sound podcast to its own YouTube channel so we can keep everything separated and clean. If you didn't see my video before about the big changes that are happening on the channel, make sure you go check that out because this whole channel is changing very, very soon. So make sure you subscribe over there. If you're into keeping up to date on some of your favorite artists from all over the world, we talk about anything from Ren to Bandmate to Nemophila to Bloodywood, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, would love for you all to join us and be part of the very new, fresh start to our journey, starting that channel up. So anyways, check out this clip. Let us know what you think down below. Let us know if you have any questions, because we're going to try to answer all those questions on next Sunday's podcast.
So Radio Rafa is asking about the canceled Nemophila shows in the US. You guys hear about that?
Yeah, so I did get a text about Nemophila canceling, or I guess they cancel shows, or they were forced to cancel shows because of a reason that I'm not sure.
The only thing I'm seeing posted online is that Nemophila canceled their upcoming October show due to unforeseen problems with the organizers. So that is super vague. That could be the organizers of the band, of the venue. Reason listed as force majeure and sort of circumstances beyond our control.
When a band says organizer, that normally means something with One Sky Music. Maybe something happened with them because they're the organizers of the show. So that's unfortunate. I hope it was just amicable and not something that was too crazy, you know, where it'll
put that in the chat over here.
Ruin.
They actually posted on X about it.
Possible opportunities, you know.
All right, I got a translation here from Tamu. She says, "We sincerely apologize to all customers who were looking forward to attending and for the great inconvenience caused. California has been canceled due to unavoidable circumstances on the organizer's side. Regarding ticket refunds, the tickets price you paid will be fully refunded." Talks about the credit cards for a second. "We deeply apologize once again for this great inconvenience." Talks about the shows that are canceled are the LA El Rey Theater, NY Sony Hall, CA California Garden AMP, and then it links to the One Sky Music Organization. It says, "Going forward, the members and staff will continue working to make future live performances in America possible. We sincerely appreciate your continued support for Nemophila, March 2025, Masterworks Incorporated." And then One Sky had a response that says, "Due to unavoidable circumstances, we wouldn't do this if we had any other choice." And they do note that the artists will still be paid their agreed upon fee. It does seem like there was an issue with them.
Sounds like a One Sky issue.
They're still willing to pay it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it sounds like an issue with the organizers, though, if they're still paying out the artist.
Yeah.
So it's probably some sort of contractual obligation that they put in there, like a clause in there. Like if there's an issue with the organized, because it's a new festival, like a new event.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had some sort of clause in their contract that said if it gets canceled due to your reasons on your behalf, we still get the agreed upon amount.
Man,
that really sucks because they were trying, One Sky, they were trying really hard to put this thing together, and there's always issues with a first time situation like this.
Yeah,
but you would hope it wouldn't be this kind of issue, where it's just the band's just not going to come now.
It just sucks that's happening with a band like Nemophila.
Yeah,
that's not the band to have something like this happen. Yeah, they're probably fine, and I'm sure they'll get over this hurdle. You're always going to have these type of things when you're starting something like this. Yeah.
It's always hard to answer the questions you don't know to ask. Yeah. It's hard to prepare for things you don't know until it happens. They're like, all right, next time we know exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
That's a bummer. I was stoked I don't know if I was going to be able to make it to that show in October, but I was very excited to hear about it. I was very excited to see videos.
We're definitely planning. Yeah, I was trying to plan to get to at least the California one.
Yeah, I was going to go to the New York one. Sure.
That makes sense.
I have SJ coming on right now. He's coming in here. He's going to explain the whole thing. Hey, SJ, how you doing?
What's up, guys? You caught me running out the door to go grocery shopping.
Perfect. We figured this might be more important than grocery shopping.
Well, I said yes.
You did. I'm just messing with you. All right, what happened? We're over here debating on it, not knowing any of the facts. So we're like, let's ask SJ. We didn't want to speak out of turn on this, so maybe you can give us some insight on what happened with the whole Nemophila situation.
And so just a little history on this. One Sky Music was started by three guys that I know, mainly from the bandmate community, but the Japanese music scene overall. It's internally well-funded, and it is a passion project to bring Japanese bands over to the United States to share the culture and just increase the visibility and the awareness and actually the quality of the music from Japan. So One Sky was formed and all financed internally, no money from the outside, and brought over three bands, Nemophila, Alika, and Risky Melody, for one show in LA and then one show in New York. I'm going to use gentle language on this because while I'm not directly part of One Sky, I'm kind of in the inner circle of what's going on, which is why I was able to talk to you originally to begin with. Mm-hmm. So everything was set up, everything was planned out, contracts were signed, everybody was happy, visas were paid for, everything was ready to go. And then about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, there were some requests from Nemophila's camp that had a significant monetary impact, which was, it wasn't doable, didn't make sense. It was already operating at almost $250,000 out of pocket, financed completely internally. And then the next ask was like 45 grand more, which would have pushed it to almost 300K to make this run. The thought was, it just doesn't make sense. It was not what One Sky was comfortable doing, especially the way that it came across. Like I said, I'm trying to be diplomatic with this. The bottom line is that Nemophila is one of the favorite bands of all three of the board of directors, and me included. Like I said, I'm not on the board. I'm just kind of in the know, and I help a lot with the LA side of things. But to be told that you need to do something that's going to cost an extra 45 grand, and again, and I want to be perfectly clear on this, it came from their camp. I don't know that it came from the band. I don't know that it came from management. I don't know that it came from the organizers on their side. So I'm not laying this at the feet of the band at all. I want to be perfectly clear on that, because it isn't clear where it all came from, just that what this request was ultimately wasn't credible.
Just to give a little bit of insight, I think it's definitely coming from management, because I dealt with only management when dealing with any of these Japanese bands. It's never the band themselves. It's always management that orchestrates everything for these Japanese bands. These bands put everything on the management. Like, they do a lot more than a U.S. band's management team would do at their level or any level below them. The management just takes complete over. Like, that's who I dealt with directly. I barely talked to anyone, so I have a feeling it's just a management thing. I'm guessing. That's an assumption. That's an assumption, of course. But from all the bands I've dealt with, it's all management I've dealt with.
I want to ask a question that I'm not sure that you're going to know the answer, or that you can answer, but just say you can't if you can't. Was the request music related or logistical related?
Logistical.
Okay. That was what I was assuming.
It involved extra staffing and then some backline requests.
Gotcha.
All right, you don't have to say more than that. I don't want to get anybody in trouble here. Did your team, the One Sky team, think that this was already going to be handled, or was this something that wasn't even on your radar?
My understanding was it was kind of an 11th hour request.
So are the other bands still coming?
No, unfortunately, the entire thing is canceled, which is it's heartbreaking for everybody involved. And I say this with all sincerity. The One Sky camp is devastated personally, is devastated for the fans who had made travel plans around this and were excited to see these three bands. Of all the devastation this has wrought, there's like $100,000 just set on fire that's gone. And that honestly, it's like the least, it's actually one of the least concerns in this. It's all the other stuff that goes with it, the blood, sweat, and tears of months and months of meetings and plannings and spending money. All these bands still have visas alone were 60 grand. That's gone. But I do want to say that there's a little light way far down the tunnel on this one. One Sky is not done. This is a passion project that isn't going away. And while there are plans in the works for something back here in April, there are no location, there are no dates, there are no hard confirmations on bans. I think it's pretty safe to assume, since visas are covered, that Alec and Risky Melody would be part of that. I've heard a few other names bantered around that I can't say right now. This isn't people threw their hands up in the air and said, F this, we're going to move on, this is stupid. No, this is a very sincere, very serious passion project that isn't going to die because of something like this. My assumption is that the next contract is going to be 100 pages long, two-sided with 8-point font. Stuff like this.
That was going to be my next question. If we can take this as sort of like a learning experience so that like we don't run into that issue next time, or if you think that this was just so out of the blue, there's just no way to stop something like this from happening.
You never foresee the unexpected for the most part. You can try to plan stuff like that. In this particular case, we leaned toward the good faith rather than the cover your ass side. So I think next time it's probably going to be more cover your ass side. So something like this does not happen.
Yeah, provisions and contracts, that's exactly why they put those in there. So bands can't do stuff like that last minute. You know, I've seen it happen. I've been screwed over in contracts on tour and stuff like that. When I went on tour with Gus G, we almost got screwed out of a lot of money at a couple of venues that we had to walk away from. But yeah, the bands always keep the guarantee or whatnot.
That's another thing. I want to be perfectly clear on this. Yeah. The bands, all three of them, were paid what they were promised to be paid. So they got paid as if they played. It was just the fans get screwed, and then the bands don't get the benefit of actually coming to the United States, especially the two smaller bands who've never been here, and they were super excited about it. This was not one of those Group A makes a request and Group B goes, fuck you just because, and just pulls the pin on this. This wasn't that type of situation. There's a lot that went into this, and it would have been it was already a losing financial thing. It was a passion project. Yeah. The decision was, you know what, we're going to pump the brakes on this. We're going to eat our loss. We're sorry for what happened. We're going to try again in April.
That's really mature of you guys. I think you deserve praise for, kind of going through that and trying again. And I know you can't say this right now, but I'm going to say it. And this is just from me. I'm pissed off at their management team for doing what they're doing right now. I think it's really kind of fucked up. And I think that if you have any sense of like the scope of what's being attempted here, you don't request something like whatever it wasn't the request was after already going through the process of setting everything up. I think in any situation, that's always going to be looked as kind of messed up from the listener's point of view, at least.
Yeah. I'm with you 100% there. I have no skin in this, so I can say what I want. I don't think any of this ever falls on the band. I think we can all acknowledge that. I don't think the members of the band ever really have much.
I want to hope that you're right to say that you're right when you say
what it sounds. I really hope that. What it sounds like to me is Nemo's management is trying to kind of big dick and say, hey, listen, we know we're the reason people are coming. We can kind of do what we want. So you have to acknowledge our requests. And whenever that was met with resistance, they're like, all right, well, we're going to take the money you're going to pay us and leave. That sucks. That really sucks. That hurts the branding of One Sky. It makes it really difficult. Like you said, like $100,000 thrown away. It's brutal. So yeah, I'm allowed to be upset. Obviously, you guys can't who are involved, but I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed with it. I think it's bad business, especially if they know if there was clauses in the contract where they were gonna get paid even if they didn't play, to pull something like this because they know they're still gonna get paid.
And just to put it out there, though, guarantees are always a normal thing. There's always guarantees for bands for every venue. So venues can pull the plug. Management can pull the plug at any time. They still get paid. That's a common practice, just like you guys all know in the music industry.
I've seen some wild shit on the internet about why this was canceled, that One Sky pulled some crazy shit, or that they canceled because they're afraid they're going to get arrested and deported. Just random idiocy. This was purely a financial thing that just it no longer made sense. It didn't. Let's be honest. It didn't make sense at the beginning to just go.
For sure. Yeah. Anyone looking out like what? They're spending how much? I'm like, they're fucking wild.
Yeah, you said $250,000. I was like, holy shit.
I was like, damn.
Visas were $60,000, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to do it.
Well, government got paid. I guess. Well, you're welcome, government. You got a free $60,000.
Well, no, and these are multi-years performance visas, so it's not like it wasn't. It was lit on fire. Let's be honest, but
Hey, I mean, for the bands, it's great. They got a performance visa now.
well, exactly. But it was either come up with this extra money on something that was already really crazy expensive, or take the loss, take the heat, and try again in April with doing everything we can to alleviate all of these issues that are now coming up. Everybody is sick about this on this side. I'm being perfectly honest with you, man. This whole thing it sucks. One Sky was over the moon excited about this, man, to be able to do something like this.
Okay, so if we see a Nemophila tour come up in the U.S. right after this, I was like, damn.
I mean,
Yeah, that would be.
Think about it. They just got essentially free performance visas, which is a huge cost. That's a huge cost, right? That's a very, very big cost that they just don't have to worry about now. That's $60,000. That's the thing that's really throwing me off. I mean, now you guys know to make sure to have some provisions in the contracts, or not you, SJ. I'm just talking in general here. Just to have provisions in there, be like, hey, you're getting this multi-year. This is a contract. These are the shows that you're obligated to play. And stuff like that. I don't know what was in the contract. I mean, I'm almost fascinated to see what's in it. But I'm just curious, like, what was in there. So obviously the management was smart enough to know what they could do from the contract. Oh, we can just pull out. You know, there must have been some loophole in that contract where they obviously weren't able to. They didn't have to execute the shows if they didn't want to.
Yeah, I do not know the answer to that.
No worries.
And for me to answer either way would be speculative, and that's not fair to the court.
Don't worry,
for
man.
sure,
You don't have to answer that. I think we're just kind of like throwing out the questions that are our head, and we
Absolutely
require a real response.
Because I could go wrong.
All right, I'm going to dip out, guys. Now that you fucked up my shopping trip, I'm going to have to wait until later. But I do. Hey, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and go over this and answer some questions as best I can. I hope there's at least an understanding and this gets out there. And seriously, One Sky isn't going away. So as soon as I can share more with you about an April show, Alan, I'll hit you up and I'll come back on and we can talk about this stuff. But this was an incredibly unfortunate circumstance, but we're not done. So we're hoping that the fans keep the faith in One Sky. They've already done one show in Japan. They have another show coming up in a couple of months. And then we're going to try again here in the States in April. So
I left Dopa. I left Dopa. All right. One of the most wild shows I saw in Japan. They were so phenomenal. Oh my God, I still can't get it.
Well,
SJ, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, we're rooting for you, buddy. We're rooting for you.
My pleasure, guys. My pleasure, guys. Hey, I appreciate the opportunity. You guys have a good day.
All right.
See you, man.
Alan's explanation of Japanese band management role kind of makes me understand why Bandmate broke away from Platinum Passport and Made It Company Ltd. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Of course. They're doing it. They're the best way, because they're in control of their fate. That's what matters most when you're a band, that you're in control of your own fate. Nemophila isn't as big as Bandmate is, so they probably felt like this was the right move. But if you asked us, I think we'd all prefer the Nemophila have their own label and do their own thing.
I don't think they
I feel like that's like the life cycle of a successful band. Like you start as like a nobody, no name, and then your first big accomplishment is getting picked up by a record label, and then your next big accomplishment is leaving that record label. Like, I feel like that's just the cycle of being successful. Is once you're big enough that you can create your own or go independent. That's the height.